Happy Aloha Friday, everyone. Stocks overall traded in a very tight range today. Everybody wanted, including me, wanted to see some follow through to the gains on Wednesday. However, if we pull back on lighter volume and do not take out these intraday lows of 6.9, I'm going to be happy on the NASDAQ. On the Russell 2000, same similar situation. We hold those lows, I'm going to be happy. S&P 500, same thing. We hold the lows, I'm going to be happy. We pull back on lighter volume today. If you look at the oscillators, they're working off overbought conditions, racing to oversold levels, yet we're holding up very well. The same can be said on the Dow Jones Industrial Average with the S&P 500 that we just looked at. And as you can see, we're at oversold levels, so we should expect a bounce. And the Dow Jones Transportation Average looking really good here. And as you can see, its MACD has slightly turned up. TSV looks like it's trying to hammer out a bottom, nothing yet. RSI has some short-term positive confirmation divergence. I mean, no really divergence, I guess. The thing you could say is here, whenever we tested the same lows here, RSI was higher, stochastics was higher, so it looks good that the Dow Jones Transportation Average can rally. Look at the stochastics on the NASDAQ. We're working off overbought conditions. Russell 2000, we're still screeching higher, which makes me think that if these other oscillators turn off their lows and the indexes rally, this Russell 2000 is going to get a little jiggy with it as overbought can stay and remain overbought longer than the bears can remain solvent. And what's interesting with all of that, MACD and TSV is working off overbought conditions. So the indexes look fine. I really don't see a whole lot wrong with them. And another confirmation that everything is pretty much, just hold steady, keep taking our long signals, which, by the way, have reached an insane amount. I got called back in 2007 by this one trader a long time ago that, how could you follow so many stocks? Man, the way that I do things, it's so systematic. I'm basically a human robot when it comes to this stuff. There's no emotions. It's just signals. If I wasn't getting signals every day, guess what we wouldn't be having every day? New long positions. No nice charts, no new long positions. That's simple. I don't go long stocks just to go long stocks. Well, this one looks okay, I'm going to go long. No, it's because this is a great signal. Seen this pattern over and over. The reward risk ratio is there. I got to take it. I have the account capital. Why not? But on that end, another thing that's happening, not only that, is anything that I sell comes back and moves higher. So, recently CNC got taken out of that. That thing is higher. UTHR got recently taken out of that. That's higher. Kirk got recently taken out of that. Now that's moving higher. So keep an eye on this one now because TSRO has given a full sell signal today. However, I never even took a long position following the next day because I didn't have a lot of capital in any of the accounts, and I decided on this day I had too many long positions. There's going to be one long signal I wasn't going to take. Better to be lucky than good lately for me. I didn't take TSRO, and once again, it did not start off well, even though you would have gotten a good fill. And this was a 50% sell signal on an end-of-day basis on the 9th, and today that's a full sell signal because it's closing below the lows of the 50-day moving average retake on the 527. So TSRO is out. Once again, lucky, I'm out. And then also, REGN produced a 50% sell signal today. I would have been taking out a 50% of it intraday if I would have had a, because if following this gap down, I would have had a sell stop below this low a day on half the position. However, back here when it broke out this time right here, I moved half my sell stops to right below here, 503.16. So when it gapped down, it clearly went through 503.16 and I was taken out, and now it's at 492. So better once again to be lucky than good. But on an end of day basis, REGN is a 50% sell signal. My next stop is right here at these lows, and what it should have been these lows and these lows, but I moved it up to here, so I'm already out of half of it. It was a bad move. It was I shouldn't be that tight with my stops, but this time around it's paid off. So on that note, before I get to the actual new long position, I totally skipped over what I wanted to go over on the indexes. So this week as it's come out, you can see what the indexes look like here on the Russell 2000 and NASDAQ. We're near new highs. You can see that volume's contracting overall as we move sideways, which is good. It shows a sign that not a lot of institutional investors want to sell up here. But obviously, maybe not a lot of investors want to buy because sentiment came out this week on AAII. Bulls have dropped to 2-year lows. They've dropped to 2-year lows, yet we're very close to new all-time highs on the NASDAQ and the Russell 2000 and the S&P 500. Interesting. Not only that, the level of neutral for 10 straight weeks has been over 40%. The last time that that's happened was in 1988 for 6 weeks following the 1987 crash. So for 6 weeks in 1988, 40% plus neutral, and here we are 10 straight weeks 40% plus neutral. Very, very kind of seems skittish crowd to me, especially with 2-year lows in the bulls on that end. And then confirming that, the Investors Intelligence survey came out. Bulls are at new 2015 lows, despite us being near new highs, and bears ticked off their lows by a full percentage point, even though it's still near historic lows overall. So the point being is that bulls don't feel very confident here. Bears feel a little bit more emboldened, but basically nobody knows what the hell to do as the market basically really has gone nowhere. I mean, what's the S&P 500 done this year? I don't even know. Excuse me. It's only up 1.71%, so understandable. So let's see what has the NASDAQ done this year. Then, for instance, it's got to be more. Yep, 6%. Okay, so kind of odd that even though the market's up 6% for the year, bulls are at new lows for the year. So quite strange things that we have going on, especially with everything we have working. And on that note, I am now tracking 95 individual stocks. Guess how many are down? Out of those 95, 10. There's actually 10 that have losses. Guess how many of those have losses greater than 1%? Only 5. Guess how many of those have losses greater than 2%? Only 2. Guess how many of those have losses greater than 3.5%? If you guess none, you're right, because TSRO being a full sell and not part of my position, we now no longer have any stock down 5%. CYNO is our worst holding, and I'm now moving my final sell stop, which was at these levels back here, up to this level here. So my new final sell stop is 34.91 if it doesn't move higher because it lost its catalyst green bot. But overall, everything's moving higher. Not sure how we can complain about that. And then tonight, not taking these signals, but once again, more long signals. ATML, check out this stock. This is a CanSlim quality stock. It's also in my BOP for 20 days. Green BOP for 20 days scan. ATML is also in my new high scan. This is a very, very interesting smaller stock, low price stock that's CanSlim quality, but the base isn't long enough for me to buy, so I'm going to pass on it. And then also ATRI, this is an excellent pocket pivot point signal off support. This has enough max green BOP that I would definitely buy if I had a lot of account capital. I don't have a lot of account capital, and see how thin this thing is traded? Look at how thin this thing is until just recently. See how much more active it is lately, even on an intraday range basis. This tells me the stock's being accumulated hardcore, but even on today's volume surge, it's only 22,000 shares a day. Gotta pass. And then ATRA, taking out the 50 on strong move. NORD seems to be hammering out a huge volume support level here. I mean, this looks just really bullish. This would be a new long signal once again if I didn't already have no room to go. I mean, I'm fully tapped out in all accounts. I mean, I don't want to add anything else here. And then 6D, I can only assume that this one, based on Telechart, I'd have to look more into it, but I haven't gotten that far yet, is basically from the pink sheets or over-the-counter bulletin board and is now on the NASDAQ. As you can see, huge accumulation in the shares. You can tell by the intraday action that this is all accumulation, even those red bars. This is all accumulation, so 6D looks like it wants to blast off higher. So a lot of nice looking stocks out there, but the only stock I want to go long is COR. COR is producing a pocket pivot point signal off extremely strong support, and as you can see, a big volume surge and BOP surges from green to max green, big price move. When you look at the oscillators, they're kind of mixed. They're not that good, so it's always possible that core is going to continue to back and fill. But overall, the max green BOP surge and the big price surge and the pocket pivot point surge, definitely something I got to buy, especially when we're only going to risk about 3% if we're wrong. And that's another common thing with all of our new long signals. Not only are the signals high quality and look great, they're not beautiful. It's not like there's max green BOP from January to now or from April to now. That would change the situation completely. And if you didn't have any of your money invested stock, I'd say 20%. Count capital in this one position, especially when you only risk 3%. But overall, we continue to get great signals, and on a do-nothing day when we pull back on lighter volume and we still manage to get one new long signal and we have only one end-of-day sell signal, and it's not that bad. That tells you pretty much, I think, all you need to know, especially with non-bullishness in the surveys.